Well, welcome back to Session 2 of the Taking the Lead program. Now, at this point, I trust that you have read Chapter 2 in the book, dealing with the first principle, team orientation, and that you filled in your study guide related to that particular principle, team orientation, and that you're ready to roll up your sleeves and go to work. Now, I want to help guide you a little bit and coach you through this particular session just a little bit, but I also want to review what you learned in this last session. Remember, in the first introductory session, I was trying to give you a framework. We talked about the products that you have in hand. The book, the study guide, the use of the DVD, the CD, using that over and over again. We also talked about the pattern. Remember, in each session, you want to follow the same pattern. You mull over content by talking and processing, having already done the work. And then you talk about your memory. You'll always memorize something. You'll master a skill or more than one skill, develop habits, and then you'll meditate. Remember, we're transformed by the renewing of our mind, and I give you core meditation just to begin with, but meditate throughout the week. We also talked about a process. Again, in your particular small group, you may have a designated facilitator, but if not, choose someone to facilitate, and as you gain confidence, begin to pass that around a little bit. Again, this is about taking the lead, not having someone give it to you, taking it. Now, not lovingly and positively, not offensively, but taking the lead. So learn to facilitate, and frankly, if you'll simply follow the pattern we talked about and follow the process that we have given you, that we reviewed last time, you remember the ABCs: ask questions, build relationships, and then cultivate openness. If you'll simply do that, then you'll be a good facilitator. Engage people. That's the point. Well, then we went back and also looked in the last session on the need for men to get active and taking the lead because we tend to be passive, don't we? We have frankly let the battle be lost to this point by not getting engaged as Christian men like we ought. We need to get more aggressive and assertive in a godly sense to take the lead in our home, in the ministry, and the marketplace. So that was one point I wanted you to see. And secondly, we reviewed last session in the introduction why this particular passage in 1 Thessalonians 2 is so critical. It really is a pattern of 10 principles, the best I know in all of literature. And then thirdly, you simply learn those 10 skills or 10 principles. And hopefully that's what you have done to this point. Now, as you begin this session, let me give you a little coaching and guidance. This is all about team orientation. Team orientation basically means I need you and you need me. That's it. I need you and you need me. We're a team. Ephesians 4 says the body of Christ is knit together by that which every joint and ligament supplies. In other texts, we're told that often the least seemly or least attractive parts of the body are the most vital. The heart's not all that attractive, but it's pretty important, isn't it? It's probably not as attractive as the finger, but if I had to have a heart or a finger, I'd lose the finger. Bottom line is, in the body of Christ, we're all critical. And that means, again, you need others and others need you. Now, you may have a problem believing that others need you. Just know you're the only you they'll ever be. If you don't do what God's called you to do, it won't be done. If you're not contributing to the team, then you really don't have the power of synergy, where one chases 1,000 and two chases 10,000. You need that. Now, some of you may not have a hard time believing that others need you. I don't, because I'm in the people building business and I get feedback routinely from others who appreciate a book or a tape or a CD or a DVD or a live speaking engagement or coaching or something. I get a lot of wonderful feedback. Now, I get some not so wonderful feedback, which I need as well, but I get plenty of affirmation. My struggle is where some of the rest of you may be, and that's believing that I need others. Let me tell you my story. Over the years, we have given tests to people that we brought on board with our various organizations. And one particular one is called the PHI-RO-B. It's a psych test. It gauges different qualities, one of which is where you are on a continuum of exclusion and inclusion. Exclusion means you want to exclude people from your life or be excluded. Inclusion means you want to include people in your life or be included. Now, where would you be on that scale? Now, I've taken the test, and you get two scores. One for how much you want to initiate, exclusion or inclusion. The other one is how much you want others to initiate, excluding or including you. 0 is total exclusion, 10 is total inclusion. You can fall anywhere in between. I get the same score every time I've taken it, maybe 3 or 4 times now. It's a 0-0. Now, that's pathetic. I really ought to be in counseling. I mean, Bottom line is, I am your extreme loner. Now, it's really not bad. It just means that's the way my bent is. By felt need, I don't have a great need to be with people. In fact, I get empowered by being alone. If I'm on the road, I really don't want to stay with people. I want to stay in a hotel and be alone. If you have a party, I don't want you to particularly invite me. I don't want to particularly have parties. When I travel, me, myself, and I can have a great time together. It's the way I'm wound. I am a loner by bent. But I've also learned over time that though that is my personality bent, like it may be yours, I desperately need people because that is the biblical thing. Remember in this text, Paul said, "But we were gentle among you." And I get this whole concept of teamness from the word we. I would challenge you to go back through Thessalonians and just circle every time it says we, our, or us. Paul was a rough, tough loner like me, but Paul said we. He needed a timid teacher called Timothy. He needed an administrative type called Silvanus. And the three of them were a team. They were co-equal. And they worked together as a team synergistically to have an impact on the church of Thessalonica in creating the healthiest church we know of in the New Testament. Why? Because they all lived out these core 10 principles, beginning with teamness, team orientation. So if you're going to take the lead in the days to come, you've got to begin by believing that others need you and that you need others. So open up, so be real, so appreciate your value to the group and throw down, begin to interact, and watch what God does in the days to come. Now you got the study guide in front of you. You've already done the work, I trust, in the book. Roll up your sleeves and get going, guys, as you begin to take the lead.